The following touches on topics of abuse, conspiracy, murder, torture, and rape. Viewer discretion is advised. As always, this video is for entertainment purposes only.
Hello, from the FAHQ studio, this is Rox95. My name is Gavin Stanford. Shelley Snob has been given the night off. The Maze Runner, from 2014, follows Thomas, a boy who wakes up in a mysterious glade with no memory. He joins other trapped teens trying to escape a deadly, shifting maze. After battling biomechanical creatures called Grievers, Thomas and a small group escape, only to discover that they were part of an experiment run by WCKD in a post-apocalyptic world. We are not focusing on that film, we are focusing on Maze Runner 2, Scorch Trials. The Scorch Trials, 2015, picks up after the Gladers escape the maze. They are taken to a WCKD facility, where Thomas discovers they are still being experimented on. This is what I would like to talk about. The kids are being experimented on because they are immune to the flare virus, a deadly disease that has devastated the world. WCKD, World Catastrophe Kill Zone Department, believes that by studying these immune individuals, they can develop a cure to save humanity. Now, this is where everything gets a little strange. To do this, WCKD puts the kids through extreme psychological and physical trials, such as the maze, to observe how their brains and bodies react under stress. The ultimate goal is to extract a cure from their brains, even if it means sacrificing them in the process. However, Thomas and others begin to question WCKD's ethics, leading them to rebel against the organization. Now let's go back to 2016 to this image. Well, I guess forward to 2016. I don't know, either way works just as well. The Frazzledrop narrative centers around a claim that a disturbing video was discovered on Anthony Weiner's laptop during an FBI investigation in 2016. According to this story, the video allegedly shows Hillary Clinton and her aide Huma Abedin involved in ritualistic abuse and the murder of a young girl. The alleged purpose of the act was tied to extracting a substance known as adrenochrome, which some believe is sought by elites for its supposed rejuvenating properties. As the narrative goes, those who reportedly viewed the video were so traumatized by its content that at least 9 law enforcement officers, including several FBI agents, allegedly committed suicide. These claims suggest that the officers were unable to cope with the horror of what they had seen, leading them to take their own lives. However, there is no verified documentation of these suicides or any direct connection between the officers' deaths and the video. I think it's fair, of course this is all alleged, but let's look at exactly what this substance is and why it's so sought after. Adrenochrome is a chemical compound produced by the oxidation of adrenaline, epinephrine. It is naturally present in the human body in small amounts, as adrenaline is secreted during stress or excitement. In scientific terms, adrenochrome has been studied for its potential effects on the body, but its role is not well understood, and there is limited research into its actual physiological impact. In popular culture, adrenochrome has gained a reputation due to fictional works, particularly in the 1971 book Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson.
What is this shit?
That stuff makes pure mescaline seem like ginger beer, man. Adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome?
I stomped them.
In the book, adrenochrome is portrayed as a powerful, mind-altering substance that people extract from humans to achieve intense, hallucinogenic effects. This portrayal has been adopted and expanded in various internet myths and underground stories, often associated with dark, conspiracy-based narratives about elites harvesting the substance from children for its supposed rejuvenating or mind-altering properties. Let's pop over to Scorch Trials really quick.
You know, at first, we had the best intentions. Find a cure, save the world. It was clear you kids were the key, because you were immune. But why? Eventually, we found an answer. An enzyme produced by the brains of the immune. Once separated from the bloodstream, it can serve as a powerful agent to slow the spread of the virus.
So you found a cure?
Not exactly. The enzyme can't be manufactured, only harvested from the immune. The young.
Well, that's fucking weird. I know what you're thinking. But Gavin, I'm sure it's nothing like that in real life, right? Well, not exactly, but Adrenochrome, Frazzledrip, and the Scorch Trials each explore themes of survival, power, and manipulation, albeit in very different contexts. While the Scorch Trials is a work of fiction set in a dystopian world, both Adrenochrome and Frazzledrip are embedded in narratives involving shadowy forces and dark conspiracies, often tied to the manipulation of individuals for power or control. In the Scorch Trials, the characters are subjected to brutal experiments by WCKD, an organization that seeks to manipulate and control the Gladers, using them as resources to find a cure for the flare virus. Like the manipulation described in the Frazzledrip narrative, the Gladers are exploited by those in power, though in the case of the Scorch Trials, the goal is the extraction of a cure, rather than Adrenochrome. Both stories portray powerful groups using individuals for their own gain, regardless of the cost to those individuals. Adrenochrome, as portrayed in the Underground narrative, shares similarities in its treatment of exploitation. In both the Adrenochrome allegations and the Scorch Trials, powerful forces are depicted as extracting something of value from vulnerable individuals. The Gladers, in the Scorch Trials, are subjected to cruel experimentation to extract their immunity to the flare virus, while the Adrenochrome story similarly focuses on elite groups allegedly harvesting the substance from vulnerable people to gain power or prolong life. Both scenarios highlight the dehumanization of those being exploited. The Frazzledrip narrative and the Scorch Trials also share themes of hidden corruption and manipulation at high levels. While the Scorch Trials presents WCKD as a visible force, the Frazzledrip story involves an alleged cover-up of horrific acts by the most powerful individuals, hidden from the public eye. Both stories suggest the existence of a system where the powerful maintain control over the less powerful through secrecy, manipulation, and exploitation. Ultimately, all three narratives touch on the exploitation of the vulnerable by powerful forces, whether it's the fictional WCKD exploiting the Gladers in the Scorch Trials, elites supposedly harvesting Adrenochrome in Underground myths, or the sinister acts implied in the Frazzledrip story. Each reflects a world where those in control use others as tools to achieve their own ends, often at great moral and ethical cost. Again, I know, but Gavin, elites wouldn't do that. Enter in Jeffrey Epstein and Sean Diddy Combs.
The amount of evidence piling up, the endless connections, the testimonies, the leaked documents, the strange coincidences. Yet none of it will ever be acknowledged because the very institutions meant to protect us are the ones running the show. The FBI and CIA have been implicated in human trafficking, blackmail operations, and deep cover corruption for decades, but every time the truth gets close to the surface, it's buried under debunking, articles, censorship, and sudden suicides. How many times do we have to watch high-profile figures mysteriously disappear, flee the country, or suddenly turn up dead before people realize that these agencies aren't here to protect anyone? They exist to uphold a system of control, to silence whistleblowers, and to ensure that the elite continue their sick games without consequence. The same names keep showing up in these cases: Epstein, Maxwell, Diddy, Hollywood elites, politicians, CEOs. But every time someone dares to pull the thread, they're dismissed as crazy, or worse, they accidentally take their own life. Look at the patterns, the leaked flight logs, the high-priced furniture, coincidences, the connections between entertainment, politics, and organized trafficking rings. Yet people still refuse to see it. It's not that the evidence isn't there. It's that acknowledging it would mean admitting how deep the rot goes. And that terrifies people. So instead, they turn away, pretend it's all just a conspiracy, and let these monsters continue doing whatever they want. But the cracks are forming. People are waking up. Films, TV shows, music videos, Maybe they're not just entertainment. Maybe they're warning us, showing us pieces of the truth hidden in plain sight. And maybe, just maybe, if enough people finally open their eyes, this entire corrupt system will come crashing down.
In 1987, the FBI became involved in investigating a group known as the Finders Cult after 2 children were found in Washington, D.C., in a disheveled state. The children were with 2 adults who later were connected to the Finders. These children were reported to be victims of neglect and abuse, leading to concerns about the group's practices. The adults claimed they were part of a group dedicated to raising children in an unconventional manner, but the children's condition suggested otherwise.
Our final witness is Ms. Rodas, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Good afternoon, Chairman McClintock, Ranking Member Japal, and distinguished members of the committee. It is an honor to be here. I thank you for the invitation to share my testimony. My goal is to inspire action to safeguard the lives of migrant children, including the staggering 85,000 that are missing. Today, children will work overnight shifts at slaughterhouses, factories, restaurants to pay their debts to smugglers and traffickers. Today, children will be sold for sex. Today, children will call a hotline to report they are being abused, neglected, and trafficked, and we don't know if they're going to get the help they need. For nearly a decade, unaccompanied children have been suffering in the shadows, and I have to confess I knew nothing about their suffering until 2021, when I volunteered to help the Biden administration with the crisis at the southern border. As part of Operation Artemis, I was deployed to the Pomona Fairplex Emergency Intake Site in California to help HHS, Office of Refugee Resettlement, reunite children with sponsors in the United States. I thought I was going to help place children in loving homes. Instead, I discovered that children are being trafficked through a sophisticated network that begins with recruiting in home country, smuggling to the U.S. border, and ends when ORR delivers a child to a sponsor. Some sponsors are criminals and traffickers and members of transnational criminal organizations. Some sponsors view children as commodities and assets to be used for earning income. This is why we are witnessing an explosion of labor trafficking. Now, whether it's intentional or not, it could be argued that the United States government has become the middleman in a large-scale, multi-billion-dollar child trafficking operation that is run by bad actors seeking to profit off of the lives of children. As for me, my interest is the safety of the children. I do not view this as a political issue. I view this as a humanitarian issue. I assure you, my motives are the highest and best. I want the children protected. So I want to tell you some of what I witnessed personally at the Pomona Fairplex. I saw vulnerable indigenous children from Guatemala who speak Mayan dialects and cannot speak Spanish. That means they cannot ask for help in English. They cannot ask for help in Spanish. They become captives of their sponsors. I have sat with case managers as they've cried to tell me the horror of what has happened to children as they make the journey to this country. I saw apartment buildings where 20, 30, and 40 unaccompanied minors have been released. I saw sponsors trying to simultaneously sponsor children from multiple ORR sites at one time. I saw sponsors using multiple addresses to obtain sponsorships of children. And I saw numerous cases of children in debt bondage, and the child knew they had to stay with the sponsor until the debt was paid. Realizing that we were not offering the children the American dream, but instead putting them in modern-day slavery with wicked overlords was a terrible revelation. A terrible revelation. These children are a captive victim population with no access to law enforcement or knowledge of their rights. They are extorted, abused, neglected, and that is why I blew the whistle in 2021. I witnessed firsthand the horrors of child trafficking and exploitation. My life will never be the same after what I saw. But I have hope, because I'm counting on you. It's my hope that you'll take action to end this crisis, to safeguard the lives of these vulnerable children. People have asked me, what can be done? What would you suggest? Well, first, I think HHS's #1 priority is oversight. They must commit to oversight, transparency, and accountability. If I could wave a magic wand, this, I believe, could be quickly solved by experts in the IG community. There is a Pandemic Analytics Center of Excellence, or the PACE as we call it. I believe if data analysts at the PACE could look at the data, children could be rescued, criminals could be prosecuted. If the PACE had access to this data, it shows where the children are and who has them. I think also we need to change the culture of speed over safety. Speed is the wrong performance measure when dealing with children. We need to revamp the vetting process of sponsors and have case managers who have investigative backgrounds, data analytics backgrounds, some certified fraud examiners. And I think we need to reimagine a system where the sponsor is the accountable party. Sponsors should be required to report to ORR. And lastly, stop retaliating against whistleblowers. Stop retaliating against the people who are trying to tell the truth to save the children. As it is written, a wise man listens to advice, while a fool continues in his folly, and HHS needs to be wise to care for these children.
Thank you very much. Your time's expired.
The Finders cult itself is shrouded in mystery. Little is known about its exact origins, though some reports suggest it started in the 1970s or 1980s. The group is believed to have been led by a man named Marion Petty, though this remains uncertain. Its members were known for their extreme survivalist tendencies, isolating themselves from mainstream society and living in communes. The group's philosophy reportedly mixed New Age beliefs with a secretive and cult-like atmosphere, though specifics on their rituals or beliefs remain unclear. The FBI investigation, which was initially prompted by the discovery of the children, uncovered further allegations, particularly of child abuse and trafficking. While these claims were widely circulated, the evidence linking the Finders directly to criminal activities was insufficient for legal action, and no one was formally charged in connection to the group's practices. Nevertheless, the media's focus on the group fueled conspiracy theories that linked the Finders to various shadowy networks, including the CIA and mind control programs. These unproven allegations suggested that the Finders were possibly part of larger, more sinister government experiments. This alleged child trafficking ring was exposed when Florida police stumbled upon two well-dressed men with 6 dirty, disoriented children in a van. The investigation led to warehouses full of disturbing photos, detailed logs of child movement, and coded messages linked to a group called The Finders. The FBI quickly took over the case, classified the files, and within weeks, the investigation was shut down with no arrests. To this day, there are unanswered questions about government involvement in trafficking operations. Despite the lack of definitive proof, rumors about the Finders persist in conspiracy circles. Some suggest they were involved in occult practices, possibly including ritualistic abuse. Their activities have often been depicted in terms of secrecy and manipulation, fueling the belief that the group had ties to deeper, more hidden forces in society. The claims about the Finders often intersect with broader theories about government cover-ups, child exploitation, and the existence of covert organizations operating in the shadows of society. While the official investigation by the FBI did not result in any charges, the events surrounding the Finders cult left a lasting impression on conspiracy theorists and those interested in alternative narratives about society. The group's mysterious nature, its connection to obscure government theories, and the troubling allegations surrounding their treatment of children continue to intrigue and disturb those who explore these darker aspects of contemporary culture. In conclusion, while we won't go into detail about Jeffrey Epstein and Sean Diddy Combs, as we've already covered them before, it's worth considering the possibility that certain figures in Hollywood and media may be revealing hidden truths through symbolism in films, television, and clothing. Whether intentional or coincidental, recurring imagery and strange parallels often fuel speculation about deeper meanings behind what we see in popular culture. If these messages are real, are they a form of disclosure, a subconscious confession, or simply artistic choices that have been misinterpreted? That question remains open for interpretation. For Shelley Snob, I am Gavin Stanford. On behalf of everyone here at the FAHQ station, good night, and stay safe. Except for you Colvin, fuck you. If my wife is watching, I'll be home after uploading.